All right, guys, week one was a lot of learning, as you can imagine. Week one of anything at a new job is a lot of learning. Sports card investing is the same. And if you are just starting with I was about to say real estate investing, which I also do, and I had a station about real estate investing, but sports card investing, the most important thing to do is be patient, because it's very easy to have your eyes open wide and be like, I want that, that looks good, I want that, I've heard this name, I want that. And you're gonna spend a lot of money very quickly. And the truth is that 99% of cards are bad. 99% of cards out there are gonna be worth nothing or very little. You gotta make sure you are focused on that 1%. So the first lesson that I really hope that you take is dive into all the knowledge first. You're not gonna know everything, but dive into so much knowledge that you could really look at every purchase or every way to purchase every little card through the lens of a very fine-tuned strategy. So the first week was a lot about absorbing what not to do. So I go to the sports card shop, I think it's called Bullpen here in Los Angeles, and I go with a buddy of mine and we pick up this Donruss box right here. And first lesson is, if you're opening a box, this is not investing, this is gambling, because these boxes are worth less than the cost of it. I mean, basically what I'm saying is that if you open all the packs here, there's a much higher chance that you will get cards of lesser value than what it costs to buy the box. If you get lucky and you get a $3,000 card in one of these, that's great, but that is not investing, that is gambling. This is for the fun of the sport. Opening packs is for fun. Picking specific players, specific cards, specific conditions, that is investing. So first things first, do you wanna invest or do you wanna gamble? The other day, I wanted to gamble, and I'll show you what I found out of my box at the end of this. Number two is that it's a lot like fantasy football, it's a lot like investing in stocks, but it's not the exact same. And that's because basically 99% of players are gonna be worthless. There are only a few players of each sport that are gonna be garnering all the attention. So for hockey, it needs to be scores. The best goalie doesn't really have too much of a following, but maybe Alexander Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby, Nikita Kucherov, a couple of those guys have a much better shot. But again, hockey is Canada, North America, parts of Eastern Europe, that's it. People in Asia, South America, England, Spain, do they care about hockey? No. So now you're competing with just that audience. So it's a very narrow focus. Same thing with football. I would love to invest in a defensive back or a linebacker or a defensive end in the NFL. That's great, but that's really narrowing the focus, because when it comes to American football, it's only America that really cares. And of America that's caring, it's really the quarterback that gets all the attention in the collecting world, because it's not like buying a stock for $5 that can go up to 15 and it's unheard of and that's fine. In this world, you have to appeal to the collector. Someone on the other end has got to buy this, and a lot of times, even if it's a good player, if they don't have that X factor of, I love collecting this player because they are such a star, good players are worth nothing. That's pretty much the lesson, is good players are worth nothing, very good players are worth very little, and excellent generational players are worth exponentially more. So that's where you have to really focus in on just a couple players that have that possibility or that potential. And that was really disappointing to learn, because I wanted to invest in all these players that I thought were underrated, and they're great linebackers, they're great running backs, they're great wide receivers. But when no one on the other end cares, then it's more about collecting as a hobby. But when you want to invest for the intention to resell, you got to make sure that the person on the other end knows this player, cares about this player, and wants to buy it for themselves. So that comes down to high scores in hockey, even though it's a limited market, quarterbacks in football, scorers in basketball. I feel like basketball, there's a bit more leeway because it is an international sport, and there are centers, there are some other players that can get some good attention. But again, very good players don't matter. We're looking for the next stars, the next all-stars. And then when it comes to baseball, you want home run hitters as well. So we need flash, we need X factor, we need that, because they get all the attention, and that other player that's wonderful on the team that any lineup would love to have, just doesn't matter. Their card will be worth $3 and it'll remain $3, and then it'll be worth $2 and $1, and then they'll be forgotten about. I also learned a lot about why cards from the 90s aren't worth nearly what they should be. And that's because even though that was a wonderful era for sports, I mean, I think of Jordan in the 90s and the Magic and the Lakers and Kobe, and then LeBron coming in at the end, and all these amazing athletes. And that's my childhood. I remember the Dream Team, and I remember Ken Griffey Jr. baseball and all this stuff. What happened is that in the 90s, they overprinted cards. They printed tens of thousands of cards, making the supply so big that the demand was easily met. And that means that you could have the coolest looking Ken Griffey card out there, but when you know that 15,000 or 20,000 of those are produced, then every single person that ever wants a Ken Griffey card can get one, which means that the demand is so equal to the supply that a card's gonna be $5. But imagine if that same card of Ken Griffey Jr. was only printed 500 times. There's only 500 copies, but there's 10,000 people or 20,000 that really want it. Well, now the prices can go up, and that's when investing can really become an interesting and fruitful hobby. So unfortunately, that means a lot of the cards I bought as a kid are worth very little, but a couple of them have maintained their value, and I think some of them have even gone up in value, and that's because I focus on rookie cards. And we hear rookie cards a lot in the investing world, but I never understood exactly what made that year so special. And the reason is because when you have a star athlete like LeBron James, he comes into the league in the early 2000s, let's say 2003, I think, and he could play till 2024. And that's a lot of years, right? That's like 20 years of him playing. Why would his year 8 be more valuable? Why was his year 15 be valuable? He only has one rookie year. So that is the year where no matter what, that is going to garner the most attention because that's his first year in the league. Now, if all the investors decide that year 3 will be every player's best year to collect, then, well, we can all agree to that. But the rule is that the rookie year, that first year into the league where they're a fresh-faced young athlete and the sky's the limit, that is the most valuable. And I totally get it, because what if you say, well, we want to make sure that his best year is the year we want to invest. Well, what if his best year is year 8? So everyone invests in year 8, but then he surpasses that in year 10. So what do? Sell all the year 8s for nothing and then go to year 10? Rookie is it. Now, if you can't afford a rookie card like Michael Jordan, for example, his rookie cards are now going in the $40,000 and $50,000 range, which is absurd. You can also look at rare cards. Just like they were overprinted in the 90s with tens of thousands of certain cards, there are also different sets where there are autographs and patches and different workings that there could be only 10 of a certain Michael Jordan card, or 20, or 50, or 100. And so that's one way of making it scarce. With that being said, let me show you the cards I bought in week 1, and give me some slack because a lot of it was emotional. A lot of it was in the excitement of getting back in and seeing cards so cheap that I wanted to gobble them up that probably aren't the best strategy.